to your lesson on page 7 in your Flute Sound Innovations book. So today we're going to cover all of page 7. There isn't a ton of playing on this page, but there is a couple of new things that we do want to go over. Right at the top of the page, you're going to see 2 new things. The first you're going to see is what's called a half note. You see right there. So it looks like a whole note, but it has a little stem coming down, or sometimes you'll see the stem going up. The stem going up and down doesn't make any difference. So a half note gets 2 beats. So a whole note that gets 4 beats, you said ta, ah, ah, ah. A half note that gets 2 beats, you say ta, ah. And that is it. The next thing you see next to it is the half note rest. The whole note rest sits under the line. You'll notice the half note rest right there sits right on top of the line. So that's the difference. Whole note rest sits underneath the line, kind of looks like a hole in the line. A half note rest sits on top of the line and again gets 2 beats. So instead of playing for 2 beats, you're going to say the word rest 2 times to go through those notes. So a half note gets 2 beats, half note rest also gets 2 beats, but instead of playing, you don't play. The other thing you're going to see over here on the right-hand side, it's going to look like a thick black line with 2 little dots at the end, just before those black lines with a little thin line there. That means you're going to play again. It's called a repeat, which means you play the piece again. Okay? And you'll notice at the end of the first of half the time, mix it up and duet, do it. There is a repeat at the end, so we're going to play through each one twice. No new notes on any of these pages. The only thing they're changing now on the pages is instead of playing a whole note that gets 4 beats, you're doing a half note that gets 2 beats. So they're mixing it up. So when you see the stem coming down, you hold it out for 2 beats. When you see no stem and it's the whole note, you hold it out for 4 beats. So we're going to look at half the time. A bunch of half notes in this, and remember at the end we repeat and do it again. So here we go. Get your flute up. Get your fingers on that B flat note. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Repeat it, go. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. So we make sure that we go through the song twice. So make sure you didn't miss that as we went. I tried to call it out as I was playing. And each note gets 2 beats. Ta, 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 rest, rest. Ta, ta. And that will help you count out the 2 beats rest. All right, let's go down to mix it up. What they're going to have you try doing here is they want you to play all 3 notes that are grouped together. So those first 3 notes, they want you to try it in one breath. So every time you see the half note rest, you take a breath during the rest. The only time they write one in is you'll see the little breath mark right before that final whole note. And remember, there's a repeat at the end, so you're going to play the whole song twice in a row. Here we go. Mix it up. It starts on your D. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. And that would be the whole song of Mix It Up. This one you might have to do a few times. It jumps around, especially right at that end part. You want to be careful that you catch all those finger changes. And now that we're doing half notes, they're a little shorter, so they're a little quicker, which means you have to change your fingers much more often. So this one, Mix It Up, may take you a few times going through it and maybe even a few days to work through it. So take your time on Mix It Up before you move on, okay? Now we're going to move down to Duet, Do It. So a duet means it's something that's written for two players to play at the same time. And you got to remember, when you're playing together, you're creating what's called harmony, when two different notes are played at the same time. Right now we've been playing in what's called unison. Unison means everybody's playing the same exact note. It really doesn't sound any different aside from the different types of sounds the instruments have. So harmony is when two instruments are playing at the same time and play different notes. So what I'm going to do in Duet, Do It, the first time I play through it, I'm going to play the top line. And I'll repeat it twice, because remember, there's a repeat at the end. So what I want you to do is the first time we play it, I'm going to play the top line. I want you to play the bottom line the first time. We're going to go through it, and then I'll play it again, and I'm going to switch to the bottom line, and I want you to play the top line. So it gives you a chance to play both parts. So I'm going to play the top line first, and you're going to play the bottom line. So make sure you start on the bottom line, and at the end there's a repeat, so we're going to do it twice. Here we go. Duet, do it. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. I almost missed the repeat on that one. I didn't realize that the fingering stayed the same. I was trying to change notes there. So that's a good thing to practice is when you have a repeat, look at the end of the song and then see what happens when you have to go back. So does the note stay the same, or do you got to make a really, really quick change? If you're playing a second line like you were playing, you'll notice the last note of the song is a D, so you need to get right back to the beginning where you go down to your B flat. So that's going to be a quick change in your eyes and how you're moving from the end to the beginning. So you just want to be thinking, when you get to the end, you need to start looking at that first note of the song that goes back to that B flat. Now that you're going to go play the top line and I'm going to play the bottom line, you'll notice the last note of the song is a B flat and the first note's a B flat. So that makes it a little bit easier when you're doing the repeat. So now you're going to play the top line and I'm going to play the bottom line. And we'll get some nice harmony together. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. And that is Duet, Do It. So I wanted you to make sure that you go through and play both lines as I'm playing the other line. Again, if you need to pause the recording and practice the lines a little bit and get used to the finger changes and all those things, or if you have to write your notes, and go right ahead. Now down on the last line, this is not a playing one. This is just one where you're just going to get some practice writing in the notes. And what you'll see is on the bottom here, they put a little spot where you can write in all the note names. So I just want you to go through and practice writing in your note names there. If you want help with what each one of those notes is, look back in your book. And again, if you want me to double check things, just send me an email or catch up with me in band, and you can bring your book in and show me if you'd like to. All right, so that is all What page are we on? We're on page 7. So that is all of page 7. So make sure you really get good at this page because now we've started half notes. So we got 2 kinds of notes now. We got half notes and whole notes, and half note rest and whole note rests. So you want to make sure you get good at both of those things before you go on to your next page. So get some good practice in this week, and when you can move on, you can start the next lesson.